Hi, we're Drew and Sarah. We're back with another crowdfunding report for Let's Table It. Today we're going to cover 5 games that are ending this week. Here we go. First up, over on Kickstarter, we've got the deluxe edition of Ready, Set, Bet from AEG.
So this is a really big and popular game for John DeClaire. This edition comes with premium chips, the Vegas-style dice, a playmat that's even larger than the original, giant meeples, pretty much all that kind of stuff. Starts at $89, goes up to $109 for everything all in and stuff like that. So it's hugely popular. Everybody really seems to love it. So
we did get this one for Christmas, the standard edition, and we have not gotten it to the table yet because we usually play with the two of us.
Yeah,
so that one's kind of hard to play.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping next time we have a game night we can.
Yeah. From everything I've seen, it really shines at 5, 6, that kind of a crowd, and all the way up. And I think this one is supposed to be able to do just as much or more. My biggest question is, well, is it needed? The other one's fine and everything like that, and I feel like for a party game, how deluxe do you need? But that's just me. It's making over 200,000, so it's doing fairly well. It's can't fault them for that.
We're just not huge party gamers.
Yeah. So until we get the other one, the base plate and everything like that, I don't know if we really need anything deluxe.
Bigger. Yeah. Still on Kickstarter, we're going to Ace of Aces from Mr. B Games.
Yeah, so Mr. B does a lot of games like this, war games. This is a really approachable kind of entry level if you're interested and just trying it out. And it's priced at $60. Ace of Aces and this whole Ace series has been around a long time, from what I can tell.
Yeah, when I was looking for images, I think the image I first found was like from 1983 or something like that.
Yeah, 1990, and they've had tons. So the big point here is kind of trying to get some people in on this at a reasonable price. They want to bring it to retail, and they're saying it's going to be $90 instead of $60. So it's definitely, I think if you're looking at an entry point for a war game, this might be a good one to go with. And Mr. B always delivers. You never have to worry about his games and stuff like that. So it's worth a shot.
Yeah, if we were interested in getting into wargaming, I think this would be more on our radar. But that's just not really a theme that we're super interested in. So
yeah, it's not for us, but it's definitely something, like I said, if you're on the fence, this would be a good time to just give it a shot, pull that trigger, I think, because honestly, for what you're getting, I think it's a decent price, and it'll give you a good entry-level experience.
Okay. Next, still on Kickstarter, we've got Philharmonix from Arcona Games, and this is one that's been on my radar for months and months and months.
Yeah, so this is just about managing a space orchestra. You're trying to, it's a Euro game at the heart of it, but it's got some interesting mechanics and things like that. It sounds like there's a lot of decisions. There's a few rules to learn, but it's not overly heavy on rules as much as it is just decision space. I think that's where BGG has it at 3.6 for difficult. I think it's just that, what am I going to do next in that possible, AP and things like that might come back to it. So they got this starting at 79, and then they've got a deluxe at 99. I think if you're going to back it, if you're thinking about it, the 99 is probably the way to go. I don't see this as being one of those that you're going to be able to see tons at retail. And I think for that little bit extra you're paying, I know it's 20, and probably a little more with shipping. But overall, I think this is, if you're going to deluxe, this kind of an upcharge where it's only that much is probably a really good one.
Yeah, $20 doesn't seem like that much more for the deluxe components. I guess I don't know what the deluxe entails.
Yeah, so you're getting quite a bit, deluxe chips and tiles and stuff like that. It's definitely enough to where it, to me, it just makes sense. So
when we first started looking at this one, the difficulty, the heaviness rating on BGG was significantly higher. And so we were really on the fence. I am really interested in this theme. I'm a music teacher, and so anytime that music is in a game, it's something that I definitely want to look at. But since then, we've kind of watched it, and that rating the weight has come down and down a little bit. 3.6 is within our wheelhouse.
Yep.
It's on the higher side, but it's definitely one that I am excited about, and I think it looks interesting.
Yeah, the one thing to keep in mind is Arcona games always are table hogs, so it's going to take up a good portion of your game table. The other thing to keep in mind is if you want to play this with 4 people or something like that, you might press pause. It sounds like just because of the amount of time it's going to take and that possible AP, this might shine at 2, which is another reason I'm thinking we might back it. Simply because I think it starts to kind of hit a lot of those areas of our interests.
Last one on Kickstarter this week, we've got Everstone from McDavitt Publishing.
Yeah, so this is kind of an interesting one. It's action selection. Eventually you're chaining actions together. He's got 1 entry point. This is his first game created. So at $59 for the entry point. It looks really good. The art is gorgeous. So things like this, it's a 2.8. It's right where we're very, very comfortable with. I'm just not sure. It's got a 40 to 120 playtime, so I'm sure, again, it's one of those per player. The only thing, again, so what you're doing is you're trying to get so much reputation and stuff like that as you settle into an area and are trying to do whatever. But my reservation is always first-time creator. Many of the times you don't have to worry, but there's always that 1 or 2 out there that just never deliver. It's a lot less in board games, but it does happen. So it's one of those where I'd like to see him be really successful with this game and possibly, move on to another game and offer this one again. I would be a little more comfortable backing at that point. But if you're not too worried, and I don't think you have to be overly worried, but it's just something that's always a reservation for me. And especially if I'm kind of on the fence, I probably will, move to that not back.
Yeah, we used to, when we first started backing things on crowdfunding, we were a lot less discerning about what we are backing and what we aren't backing. And I think a year ago, this might have been an automatic back for us. But now that we've built up a little bit more of a library and our space in our home is a little bit less, we're a little more budget conscious, and so we're kind of being a lot more discerning. So you'll only see us one a week, maybe, that we actually usually back.
Yeah, it depends. And of course, it depends on the weeks. There are some weeks where we might go a month with backing maybe 1, and other times we might back 4 or 5 in a month. It's just one of those where, Kickstarter, GameFound, they get heavy during some seasons and kind of lighter at others. So.
Yeah, so just so at home there, it's not when we don't back a game, it's not because we think it's a bad game.
No.
We're just becoming a lot more discerning as we figure out our own tastes and have a little more experience in the hobby.
Yeah, and again, this one I think it shows really good chance and promise, and like I said, the art is gorgeous, and that usually pulls us in a little bit more. It's one of those I just want to kind of watch and see how things go. Just see how it all plays out overall, and kind of get a feel for, first-time publisher, how that's going to work. And oftentimes it's a little difficult too. They've got to navigate, distributors and stuff like that if they want to go to retail. So I'd like to just see how this works out. But definitely, if you're interested, take a look. I don't think you're going to be disappointed in it.
Lastly this week, heading over to GameFound, we've got Inferno from Red Mojo Games.
Yeah, so this is another one. They just finished last week with Dante, and that was kind of that, what do I want to say, miniatures on a, Europe or American type game. This is much more Euro style. So if you like that theme, but you weren't sure of the gameplay, this is the one to look at. You're looking at resource management, worker placement, They've got a couple, like a dual currency system, which looks really interesting, kind of how you're going to manage those two. The art is really neat. I think it's an interesting layout of how they've kind of set things. Yeah, I think it's kind of an interesting one. It plays in 120 or less, so that's good. Sometimes you're not sure. 45 minutes is the minimum that they give, so it's possible. And it's that 3.2 or so on BGG, so not too heavy.
The theme on this one is not my jam for the most part. I think that's probably mostly what's holding us back on this one. I think the mechanisms with a different theme we'd probably be looking at it a little more closely.
Yeah, and at what, $90 for, I wouldn't say, don't get the retail obviously because you're just going to wait otherwise, but that $90 to $135, you'll have to kind of weigh out what you think is best if you want to go with it. The art though is just gorgeous. The minis look amazing. So it's got a lot going for it again. I don't mind the theme as much, but I know if she doesn't like the theme, it's never going to get played. So that's kind of out. That 120 playtime is kind of an upper limit for us. We tend to not get something tabled if it's going to take, anywhere over that 90 or so minutes. So it just depends. But I think, Red Mojo's done a lot in the past too, and I think they're another one that you can kind of trust as far as any kind of crowdfunding too.
Quality and as well as delivering.
Yep. So it's a pass for us, but definitely, like I said, if you like the theme of Dante but didn't want the Ameritrash type play, this Euro game is going to fit the bill.
This has been our crowdfunding report for Let's Table It. If you are interested in more board gaming content, please subscribe to our channel. If you'd like to follow our family's day-to-day gaming adventures, you can find us over on Instagram at Sarah Always Loses. Thanks for watching.